Good evening, I'm Bersatu Michael and you're watching Kini News, the show that brings you today's biggest stories. Faced by the choice of making peace or war, Azmin said he chose peace when faced by a heckler in Sabah. He also had words of advice for Shafi Abdal. Bersatu Supreme Council member Azmin Ali told reporters today that he reacted with a smile when heckled by a Warisan supporter in Membakut on nomination day because he did not want the provocation to escalate. The incident was captured on video, which has been widely circulated throughout the Sabah state election campaign period.
Well, saya meraihkan penyokong-penyokong Warisan, tetapi ada satu pemuda yang cuba membawa sentimen anti Melaya, tetapi saya respon dengan senyuman dan tidak mahu menimbulkan provokasi. Malahan ada di kalangan mereka yang datang bertemu dan memohon maaf pada saya. Saya terima baik, cuma saya berharap Shafi Abdal tidak mengapi-apikan sentimen yang boleh memecah belahkan perpaduan rakyat Malaysia. Kerana dalam pilihan raya ini adalah sebahagian daripada demokrasi, tetapi kita tidak boleh menggunakan pentas ini untuk membakar dengan isu-isu yang boleh memecahkan hubungan di antara persekutuan dan juga negeri.
Meanwhile, Azmin also backed Sabah Bersatu Chief Haji Muhammad Noor as worthy of becoming Chief Minister. He said after listening to Haji's speech, he would not hesitate to say that Haji is indeed worthy to be made the Sabah Chief Minister. He said this wasn't just his personal view, but also that of Prime Minister Muhyiddin Yassin. Azmin added that the people needed a respected figure as Chief Minister, and he is none other than Haji. Opposition leaders have questioned whether Perikatan Nasional has registered as a party. The ROS has finally confirmed.
The Registrar of Societies has confirmed that Perikatan Nasional is a registered party. In a statement yesterday evening, they said that their application was approved on August 7th under the political category in line with the Societies Act 1966. The statement came following a claim by PKRU's Vice Chief, Syed Baidli Shah Syed Osman, that there was no record of PN's registration in the ROS database as of September 14th. ROS said that the certificate, party logo and party constitution was signed and presented to PN as soon as the application was approved. They dismissed Syed Badli's claims as being false and explained that the ROS system is updated every 2 months with the latest information on party approvals, so the record on PN will only be reflected on the website in early October. However, they said the record is already available in the e-Roses system, which can be only accessed by the party secretary. Meanwhile, the Election Commission has also released a statement on the issue. They said there was no problem with PN contesting the Sabah elections, as they have already registered with the ROS. PN debuted its logo carrying the words Perikatan Nasional in white against a dark blue background for the Sabah state election.
5 people linked to the factory that was allegedly responsible for the pollution in Sungai Gong, which resulted in a water supply disruption that affected millions of people, have been charged.
4 company directors, who were also brothers, and a workshop manager were charged in the Selayang Sessions Court today in connection with the pollution in Sungai Gong. All of them pleaded not guilty to charges made against them before Judge Shafira Muhammad Said. They were all charged under Section 430 of the Penal Code for committing mischief by causing hazardous waste from their workshop at Kampung Sungai Dua, Rawang, to flow into Sungai Gong between the 2nd and 3rd of September. If found guilty, they face imprisonment for up to 30 years or a fine or both. The 5 men were also jointly charged under Section 25(1) of the Environmental Quality Act 1974 with emitting environmentally hazardous substances from the workshop into a waterway which then flowed into Sungai Gong. This provides a maximum fine of 100,000 ringgit or imprisonment for up to 5 years or both if found guilty. On September the 3rd, it was reported that pollution at Sungai Selangor had caused an unscheduled disruption for the water supply to 1,292 areas in Kuala Lumpur, Petaling, Klang, Shah Alam, Kuala Selangor, Hulu Selangor, Gombak and Kuala Langat. 4 brothers who are the owners of the factory alleged to be the cause of the pollution and the manager of the company's workshop were arrested over the incident.
Zahid Hamidi may not be a fortune teller, but he knows what BN needs to do in Sabah. BN Chief Ahmad Zahid Hamidi spoke to the coalition's election machinery in Tanjung Batu, Kalabakang last night. His message was simple. Sabah is the precursor to the next general election, and a win in Sabah will mean political stability for the coalition.
Lepas pilihan raya negeri Sabah akan berlaku satu lagi pilihan raya, iaitu pilihan raya umum yang ke-15. Saya bukan pak nujung politik, tetapi kemenangan di Sabah nanti akan memberikan sumbangan kepada pilihan raya umum yang ke-15 nanti. Kalau mahu kerajaan di seluruh negara stabil, kestabilan itu bermula daripada Sabah. Kerana jika parti lain memerintah, maka tidak akan timbul kestabilan. Kita mahu kerajaan yang sama dengan pusat memerintah di Sabah agar peruntukan daripada pusat datang ke Sabah demi kepentingan rakyat Sabah seluruhnya. Itulah matlamat kita.
Meanwhile, Zahid also assured UMNO and past leaders will be given political appointments should BN win in Sabah. This came after UMNO conceded seats to its Perikatan Nasional allies for the state election, while PAS found itself without any. Berita Harian quoted Zahid as saying that he recognized that there was discontent among grassroots members. Zahid added that Sabah UMNO had the autonomy to decide candidate selections. Despite calling themselves the Gabungan Rakyat Sabah Pact, BN, PN and PBS are clashing in 17 seats. The three entities are also campaigning and contesting using their respective logos. We spoke to Warisan Sungai Sibuga candidate Armani Mahiruddin, who is contesting Musa Aman's former seat in Sabah. Here's what he told us.
Warisan Sungai Sibuga candidate is the younger sister of Sabah Governor Johar Mahiruddin, whose decision to dissolve the State Legislative Assembly had paved the way for the upcoming elections. Armani Mahiruddin is also a former Wanita UMNO leader and member under its Liberan division in Sungai Sibuga for over 20 years, the seat held by former Chief Minister Musa Aman since 1994. However, Armani has dismissed talks that her electoral debut was partly supported by family ties with the Sabah governor. The 54-year-old, who holds the record for being the first woman elected as Dewan Negara Deputy Speaker, also said that she was confident of rising above Musa's links in Liberan.
Saya ini pun ketua wanita bahagian Tan Sri Musa. Di mana dia bermula di Liberan, saya pun bermula di sini. Jadi bagi saya tidak kikuk untuk semua saya faham sudah apa rakyat perlukan di sini. Dan saya rasa kepimpinan Tan Sri Musa di sini sudah berlalu. Kekuatan dia pun sudah berlalu. Jadi bagi saya tidak ada cabaran. Saya hadapi dengan tenang.
Armani joined Warisan along with over 200 Sadakan UMNO members in May 2018, several weeks after Shafi Abdal was sworn in as Chief Minister. She is in a 5-corner contest in Sungai Sibuga against BN and Sabah-based parties, LDP, Parti Cinta Sabah and Parti Perpaduan Rakyat Sabah.
Malaysia now has 632 active cases. Here's the country's latest COVID-19 situation. Malaysia recorded 23 new COVID-19 cases today, of which 10 were imported cases. Health Ministry Director General Dr. Nur Hisham Abdullah said that the 10 imported cases involved 5 Malaysians and 5 non-citizens. Out of the 10 imported cases, 4 entered Malaysia from the Philippines, and 1 from each of the following countries: Hungary, Turkey, Qatar, Bangladesh, Nigeria and Maghribi. Dr. Hisham said that all the local cases were from Sabah.
Semua penularan di dalam negara adalah di negeri Sabah, iaitu 8 kes adalah daripada kluster baru, iaitu kluster pulau di Kunak Sabah, 4 kes daripada kluster Benteng Lahad Datu yang melibatkan 3 bukan warga negara dan 1 kes saringan rujukan dari Hospital Sempurna ke Hospital Tawau.
Coming up next, Russia has thrown a massive amount of money to bolster Alexander Lukashenko's position in Belarus. Russian President Vladimir Putin bestowed a $1.5 billion loan to Belarus on Monday in a gesture of support for its leader, Alexander Lukashenko.
Russian President Vladimir Putin granted a $1.5 billion loan to Belarus on Monday after its embattled leader, Alexander Lukashenko, flew to the Black Sea resort of Sochi to ask his patron for additional support. This comes one day after more than 100,000 protesters took to the streets of Minsk for the fifth straight weekend to demand his resignation following an election they say was rigged. Putin gave few details about the new loan, but he did signal further support for Lukashenko and said that defense cooperation would continue.
We agreed that in this hard moment, Russia will provide Belarus with a state loan of $1.5 billion, and we will fulfill this. Now, as we know, our finance ministers are professionally working on it. We will have to continue our cooperation in the sphere of defense. I mean, the military plants in the first place. Here, our cooperation is also large, and it is concentrated in fairly sensitive areas.
Hours earlier, Russian news agencies reported that Moscow was also sending paratroopers for joint exercises. Putin has also backed plans Lukashenko had previously announced for constitutional reforms, which the opposition has dismissed as a stunt to retain power after a disputed presidential election. Since the election, which Lukashenko denies rigging, thousands of people have been arrested and nearly all opposition leaders jailed, deported, or forced into exile. Police said they detained 774 people on Sunday. Belarus has the closest political, social, economic, and defense relationship with Russia of any former Soviet republic.
Coronavirus vaccines being developed in China may be ready as early as November, according to Chinese officials.
China has 4 COVID-19 vaccines in the final stages of clinical trials, with at least 3 of those being offered to essential workers under an emergency use program launched in July. An official with the Chinese Center for Disease Control and Prevention said that Phase 3 clinical trials were proceeding smoothly and the vaccines could be ready for the general public in November or December. A unit of state pharmaceutical giant China National Pharmaceutical Group, or Sinopharm, and US-listed Sinovac Biotech are developing the 3 vaccines under the state's emergency use program. A first COVID-19 vaccine being developed by CanSino Biologics was approved for use by the Chinese military in June. Global vaccine makers are racing to develop an effective vaccine against the virus which has killed more than 925,000 people. Leading Western vaccine makers pledged earlier this month to uphold scientific study standards and reject any political pressure to rush the process.
And that is all from me today. For more stories, you can go to KiniTV.com. You can also follow us on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube and Facebook for the latest news updates. I'll be back with more tomorrow, same time, same place. I'm Bersatu Michael. Thank you for watching.